it's going to be 2025 pretty soon. And I'm not planning on having any more kids.
Good.
So
me neither.
What's the big event? Like, what are we doing in 2025?
I mean, do you want to buy another hotel?
Fuck yeah.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, so we opened Society Hill Hotel only a few months ago. It's gone pretty well. There's definitely a lot of wins. There are several shortcomings, and we're going to have to make some adjustments going into the end of the year. But that's largely related to the food and beverage aspect of it, the F&B. I think the hotel part of it, though, we pretty much nailed. Like, there's definitely storage issues and a few things that we've learned, but we have good occupancy.
Rising
ADR. There's demand in Philadelphia. Should we open another hotel in Philadelphia because we have this following? We have like 140,000 people on Instagram that follow us. And I think that's the debate that we got to have is like, where does this hotel go? Because the world's our oyster right now. I feel like we have a lot of like interest in the work that we do, but I'm not sure yet.
I feel like if we are going to stay in Philly, I actually wouldn't want to open another Society Hill Hotel in the city. I would only want to build on top of or expand the existing property that we have, because I feel like we've driven so much interest to that one pinpointed location, and we've spent all the effort of building the brand of Society Hill Hotel.
Right.
We've built the following, and people know us for that one specific location. To me, it doesn't excite me, at least, to go build another one in another neighborhood in Philly. I would be excited about adding, 6 floors to it so we could add more rooms.
That makes a lot of sense, because that is the limiting factor right now. We have full weekends where, I mean, almost every weekend.
This weekend, tonight, tomorrow night, Friday, Saturday, 100% occupancy.
Right. How many rooms more could we have sold?
Correct. And probably a lot more. And it's not like this is a random weekend. This has become the trend, is that we are, despite the fact that we're increasing our ADRs and playing with all the dynamic pricing that we can, we're still selling out, which that's a great storyline. And one of the reasons why I think we should open another hotel is because I think we've done a great job at formulating what success looks like on the hotel side. But yeah, we could use more rooms, because as opposed to spreading it out somewhere else, I would love to build on. But I just think that from a investment perspective and then a timeline perspective, because it would be, I don't know how you would build on to this 200-year-old building without having a massive disruption to the business that we really, just opened at the end of the day.
Yeah, I almost feel like, therefore, even though we definitely could, and I feel like the investor appetite out there to expand on this, especially with the financials that you mentioned, ADR meaning average daily rate.
Yep.
So $250 this month-ish. So not like luxury, but they're small rooms.
Yeah.
But part of me also thinks...
And that's a blended rate, by the way, too. So like...
Yeah, there's some nights that are like $300-$400.
Exactly, yeah. So like on a weeknight in one of the smaller queen bunk rooms,
you get it for $150.
Exactly. Like that's bringing down the ADR.
Sure. But anything we do in the city, I mean, honestly, like the city can be challenging. I mean, we had the, some union challenges with labor. We're going to have like, if we're building actually up or to the side, there's a lot more engineering and everything like that. Like, I think we definitely need to do that. Like no brainer. I think we get there and maybe we start that process, but that's like a year or two process.
Yeah.
Like I really want to open something by next summer.
I do too. I want to be able to stack wins with this, because I know, like, don't get me wrong, we're not done with Society Hill Hotel in Philly. That we're going to own that for a long time, and we have a lot of work and opportunity to still unlock there. But the work now is not the same type of lift that getting it open was, and it's also not the same type of reward. We're talking about incremental increases right now in the business. We're not talking about another 25 keys, and we're not talking about building on top of the foundation that we have and building a long-term brand.
And I think maybe that's also a key point to elaborate on here, is that we're both doing a lot, and some people might be a few episodes into listening to us and being like, holy shit, like what is like, what, like we got healthcare, we got tents, we got this, we got that. But the way that we're approaching this business is we love it. Like we love real estate. We love Philadelphia. We love the region. We love historical stuff.
Yep.
There's a lot of like passion in this.
Exactly. I think for me, I really, it's like, it's a fun creative outlet.
This is the creative outlet.
Because like we spent a long time building a retail brand, an apparel brand, building a brand that had that made physical product, and that was creative. And like we built retail stores that were creative outlets for us. We've never hired an interior designer. I'm not saying we never will, but because we've enjoyed it, and we're not trained to do that, but
So this is like our art. This is our canvas.
Yes.
And it's also like something that we get to do together now and like have fun and like, so I think to just like for us to clarify for ourselves and also like anybody listening, it's like we are looking to do this because we love it, but to that point, we're looking to build this differently than we're building our other businesses and how we built United by Blue, which was we were the operators, right? We are the operators. This one, on the other hand, it's not to say that we're not heavily involved, but it's more of an investment mindset than an operator mindset, owner investor mindset, which has a lot of challenges. And part of those challenges has a lot of challenges, but a lot of benefits. One of the benefits, or one of the challenges to start with Society Hill Hotel, and I think what we've learned from that and how we want to evolve it is the scale is important. It's nearly impossible to do small businesses and be an investor and not an operator, right? So we have to like, whatever we choose next has to have a level of scale that allows us to be an investor and an owner and use our strengths, which is branding, marketing, vision, like the voice, the name behind it, the content. I think this content strategy, even doing these podcasts and everything like that, it's all about building the marketing and the awareness for these projects.
Physical, beautiful, experiential places that people want to be. And that's what we've done
building
throughout our career.
Correct. Building them. But then day-to-day operations, both of us actually are not that. That's not honestly what we really want to do.
And nor have we ever really done it.
Correct.
To be honest with you. Like we ran multiple retail stores. We opened multiple retail stores. But you or I, with the exception of the early days of us pouring coffee in the cafe and occasionally checking somebody out.
And I think maybe what I really want to make clear to people is like, we're not trying to say that we just want to like have like easy wins and stack them up and like, but because we work our asses off.
Yes.
Like I don't think anybody that knows us can debate that.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
But we want to have a large portfolio of hotels and hundreds of keys eventually under a company that we're the helm of. And ultimately it means that we have to do more projects and we have to keep on, like you said earlier, stacking them up.
And you can't do more projects if you are the operator. Like we have to separate ourselves from what we are good at, what we have done historically, and what time allows, because you're still building a multi-million-dollar company that's outside of Society Hill Hotel. I am still building a multi-million-dollar company outside of Society Hill Hotel. We need to figure out the time that we do have to put into this and to focus on this together has to be very intentional, and it needs to be distilled down into what we are the best at. I think that that's where operators get stuck, and owner-operators of mom-and-pop businesses oftentimes can never sell or never transact in the future because
they're too tied to it.
They are the business. The person is the business. What we're trying to do is not because we don't want the work. It's because I want to build a business that can run without us.
Yeah.
That can be built by us, but not run by us. Is it two different things?
Amen. And I think that's what 2025 is going to be about. That's what the balance of 2024 and then 2025 is. We're going to have to really work on that, like, because the challenges of SHH right now are such that it's the operational stuff. It's the stuff that, general managers are coming to us with, and things that we need to empower people to be able to solve on their own. And I think getting the next project in line is going to allow us to get to more scale so that we actually can start to have either, it could be third-party management, or it could just be a better structure around this so that we can be board of directors and owners and still have a very strong perspective, because I think it all starts top down, and you can never just be like, here's the check, go. But I think that's why I'm quite motivated right now to do more, because doing more allows us to actually do less.
Correct. Yes.
So, all right. So you went to the shore and you found some places, and I didn't get a chance to go, but you were telling me about the two opportunities that we have on the table.
Yep.
Both are in the throes of negotiation. One is the Pink Champagne, one is Ocean Holiday. Tell me about both of them.
All right. So for those that don't know what we're talking about, and you probably didn't know the term the shore until you were...
No, yeah, it's a regional stuff. It's a regional
20
term.
years old, yeah. So when people in Philly, myself included, everyone in the summer goes to the shore. The shore is the Jersey Shore, and there's a bunch of beach towns up and down the New Jersey coastline that are lovingly referred to as the shore in the Philly area. And one of the towns that we've honed in on is one that I have a lot of affinity for, which is Wildwood. Wildwood has an interesting reputation over the years because it has gone through a lot of ups and downs. It has had kind of this history in the early 1900s through the 50s and 60s of this doo-wop inspired Rat Pack style live music and dancing and these really creative and cool hotels and motels, along with one of the largest boardwalks and big beaches with amusement piers and things for people to do. Very family friendly. But it has also always been a free beach and one of the few beaches in that area that doesn't require beach tags. Still to this day, does not require a beach tag to get on. So free, guarded beaches that are beautiful. And what that has done is that there's been times when Wildwood hasn't had the best reputation because it became young kids and a party town and kind of has a little bit of history to it that hasn't been the best at times. And then within Wildwood, so it's one barrier island. It's about 7 miles long, and it's split up into 3 different municipalities, even just in those 7 miles. And there's North Wildwood, Wildwood, and Wildwood Crest going from north to south. And these are like the very southern shore points, essentially, in the Jersey Shore. There's only one that's further south, which is Cape May. And what I love about Wildwood, I've been going there my whole life. Lots of personal family history that I have with Wildwood and affinity. I have a vacation rental property down there for a few years now. But what I think is so interesting about it is that it is one of the last touched gems of the Jersey Shore from a real estate investing perspective, because the town of Wildwood, because of that reputation, still has assets that can be bought at much less than you can find them 3 miles in either direction. If you go up to Stone Harbor and Avalon or down to Cape May, a house that might be $1 million in Wildwood would be $3 million in those other locations.
Wow. And
that, I believe, is where the opportunity is, specifically within what we're doing with hospitality, because I believe there's an opportunity to build something that is just as nice, if not nicer, than the best spots in those towns, in those bordering towns. And we still have the exact same beach, the exact same ocean, all of the amenities, more density restaurants, breweries that have been bubbling up over the past 5 years. And I think that is an opportunity for massive growth if we can get in there soon and get a deal before they become untouchable.
So there's a few things, not having a emotional or personal connection to Wildwood, there's a few things I like about that and stuff that you've told me and stuff that I've come to learn over the last little bit. One is that it is the density, there's so many of these old motels that are prime for a renovation, which is what we want to do. We don't just want to buy an asset and manage it. We want to take a underperforming, distressed asset, improve it, and then make the money on the appreciation of the asset itself, but then also create a cash flow situation which is disproportionate to what it is now. So like if we can find something that has, rooms that are being rented for 150 to 200, and we know that we can rent them for 300 to 400. That's a great opportunity because the value of that property is going to be probably sold at whatever it's being rented at. So that's a really cool thing about it. The other thing is that it's the density of people that go there. They're just like, it seems like it is one of the larger destinations, and specifically for the Philadelphia crowd, this is really interesting because we've just built now a reputation and an audience in Philadelphia, specifically even with our social media and Instagram. So we have that 140,000 people that follow Finding Brotherly Love, the Instagram, that are probably, are regionally in this area. Mm-hmm. So giving them another opportunity to have a property that they can follow along a renovation story on and then ultimately go to is going to be big.
Yep.
The PR connections, Philadelphia Magazine covers the shore, all the different, people that we've now connected with because of Society Hill Hotel would be very into this project. If we did something far away, it wouldn't be relevant. So it's a natural stepping stone because of that. And then also the back to like the population center and the amount of people in this area. If we were to do something that we wanted to sell, because I think we've talked a lot about recently, we want to build a portfolio of Society Hill hotels because that is a great brand and that is like an urban core boutique hotel concept. And Wildwood is like a city, like technically
it is a city, yeah.
And so like Society Hill Hotel could work there, but there's so many of these cool brands down there that could just be revived. We could get the operations, and there are a lot of them are run by technology that is non-existent, right? Mm-hmm. Mom and pop operations. Yep. They're just, the list goes on and on. This arbitrage, as I like to always look for, is very, very high when you find a mom and pop operated business, a rundown distressed asset in a great location that has a large population center and a lot of money that has grown up going there, like yourself, that has an affinity to this area, raising money, selling the asset. I'm pretty sold. That's why
I think is so unique about. And I know a lot of people that are listening to the show probably already have some concept of commercial real estate, but for those that don't, valuations and how much a property is worth in commercial real estate is totally different from how your single family home is valued. So houses are valued, and we've both done, residential real estate. Residential real estate is driven by the market comps in the area. So there's only so much renovation that you can do to a house to increase the amenities, to update your kitchens and bathrooms and facade and roof or whatever you want to do. There's only so much you can do to support the overall value of what that place is going to be worth. Whereas in commercial, it's a business and it is valued as a business and as an investment. So what that means is that commercial real estate is valued by the net operating income, or NOI is the term that you always hear, and then the cap rate, the capitalization rate for that class of asset wherever it is located. So is it an A class? Is it the best of the best asset and the best of the best location? Is it a B? Is it a C? Is it a D? And then, okay, that is going to dictate, we have an A class asset that's a hotel in this market.
That's Society Hill Hotel.
Correct.
Do you know what cap rate we would be getting in Wildwood?
In Wildwood, we would be, so the goal, and that's what is so fun about commercial real estate, because it's a business that you're building, because it's driven by.
It's a business as soon as you have the income. If the real estate was empty and not generating income,
correct,
it's just going to be appraised on the value of the property.
Yep.
But as soon as you have income, you change everything.
Because it's an investable asset then. Because Correct. Then somebody can come in, and if somebody theoretically wanted to pay $5 million for a property, they would know that if it just continued operating as is and they paid full cash for it, that cap rate is the amount that they would earn on that money on an annual basis.
So a 10% cap rate means that they would be generating $500,000 in NOI on a $5 million purchase.
Yep. In perpetuity. Yep. That's the general concept.
8%, and then it goes, the lower the cap rate, the higher the valuation.
Exactly.
Because you're making more money off of that.
Correct. So that is typically indicative of the better quality the asset is, the lower the cap rate is.
Right.
So what you typically look for in a commercial real estate scenario like this is ways to compress the cap rate. So going from something that is currently a 10 cap or a 12 cap and driving that down to an 8 cap or to a 7 cap.
While increasing the NOI.
So that's why commercial real estate is so fun.
You can make millions out of the blue.
Out of nowhere, out of thin air, because you've created real value because it's based on a business. It doesn't matter as much about how much money you're putting into these rooms. What matters is, does that money that you're putting into the rooms translate into business value? Whereas a residential real estate deal, doesn't matter. You can put tons of money into the rooms.
That's why residential is so bad, actually, because there's really no way to...
From
you
an
just
investment perspective?
Cross your fingers and hope that it appreciates.
Correct. Whereas you have control in a commercial real estate scenario, and that's why I love, and I think you and I have come to love together, hospitality and hotel, is because there is an outsized opportunity as opposed to, again, you look at the other commercial real estate assets like office space.
Yep.
There's a market, there's a cap, there's only so much you can do, there's only so much you can raise the rents. Just like residential real estate investing, it becomes challenging to get a huge win, an outsized win. Whereas in hospitality, you can take what is a shitty, rundown piece of shit motel and pump some money into it, pump some love into it, give it personality.
Some brotherly love.
Some brotherly love. Put some systems into it and some technology into it that elevates guest experience, that makes people happy, that makes them want to come there. And all of a sudden, you can flip that dump into a gem. You've done it. I mean, you took a motel.
Let me take you through the economics of mine then, because I agree, because I think we can do it at scale in Wildwood or other markets. And I also like you bring up a lot of great points, but I also want to make sure that it's clear that it's actually really hard. And that's why a lot of other people don't do it.
Yes.
Now, hospitality, is hospitality. It's called hospitality because of the name itself is about being hospitable, and a lot of people just can't figure out how to serve guests. And I think that our career was all about serving guests and serving customers and things like that. So I don't want to make it seem like it's just like a easy thing to do.
No.
But let me use my example. So the Rex Hotel was a old motel in the mountains of Pennsylvania, and the purchase price of that was $242,000.
How many motel rooms?
Just 10.
10.
Bought it in cash.
Yep.
And then I did put significant renovation into it. Probably around $750,000 over time went into renovating this. So it's about $1 million in
investment. Yep.
Yeah. And it generates $500,000 a year in gross revenue, and it probably profits, $250,000 to $300,000 in profit a year.
Yep.
So it's generating profits in excess of what its original purchase price was. And then the cap rate in that market is probably it's not as good as it would be in Philadelphia or even the Shore. But say it's even a 10% cap rate.
Yep.
So if you're generating $250,000 in profit, it's worth $2.5 million. So not only is it generating all that cash flow over time, which is like the best part of this is actually this cash flow, because it's just like a great income. But if I was to sell it, it's appreciated in just 3 years.
Literally 10x. You took a property that was worth $250,000 and made it worth 10x.
And that would be yes, that is true. And I actually think that that's probably how I would market the sale. if I sold it. But I did put that extra investment in to renovate it.
Yes.
So it's probably like 2.5, you know, of the value that I did.
But my point is that
there's no way that appreciated without the income, because
you cannot make a residential real estate asset worth 10 times more.
100%.
It's not possible.
And that land, by the way, without that business on it, that land is probably worth $50,000. Like there's no worth in the land, and the buildings themselves, the sticks and bricks, like, you know, again, it's not even worth what the renovation price was. So that's the next example is even better, because took campground seller financing, $285,000 seller financing, no cash down, $10,000 in closing costs. Then put several $100,000, $300,000-$400,000 into building Ferncrest, the Glampground. That has a similar return profile in terms of NOI, maybe a little bit less, but it's growing. It's growing more substantially than the Rex is. And that is now, again, arguably worth $2 to $3 million as well. So both of these properties are now worth $2 to $3 million. I have less than $500,000 of debt on them. So collectively, I have $5 million in hospitality assets with $400,000 in debt. So I've made $4.5 million in the last 3 years with the principles that you were just talking about.
I love it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to open another hotel.
Yes, exactly. And then we need to do the bigger, because getting to scale is important. Now, the challenge with these next projects is going to be these projects that I just described in the mountains. They are fully bootstrapped, owned and operated, right? No investors. We can't really, these projects that we're doing with like Society Hill Hotel, we had investors. We've talked about that. We've put some money in ourselves as well. But like this next project is going to be a similar situation. Do you think we can get seller financing? You were talking to them. There's 2 properties. Like, what's up?
Yeah, so there's 2 different properties that are in the mix, both in Wildwood, both hotels in very different condition, though. Neither of them are turnkey, we're walking into this thing and excited about running it. The one is at least operational, although it is like a 2-star type of experience.
And that's the Pink Champagne?
And that's the Pink Champagne.
Okay.
25 keys.
Quite the name.
Pretty cool name.
Yeah.
Epic sign. There's the little photo of it from. It was built in 1957. It's registered historic. You know, one of those kind of original builds, has some really unique features to the railing that are still there. Some architectural details. It is pink and white, which a little bit funky. Not like the brands that we've built before, but something that I think we could absolutely run away with in terms of really leaning into.
So we would keep the brand.
That's one of the challenges that I have with it, honestly, is because we've spent so much time and effort building Society Hill Hotel. Why would we go and build another brand as opposed to just expand the brand to a new location? I think you can make an argument, and we should have the discussion on whether or not if this is the one, what do we do with the name? Because there's 2 challenges if we were to keep the name. One of which we've already experienced before is that it doesn't have great reviews, and people already know it because it's been the same name for decades now. So if we keep the name, but we apply our touch to it and we spend $1 million renovating it, are people going to want to stay there? Because it's going to carry the potential baggage of negative reviews, past perceptions of what it is today. We had the same issue with Society Hill Hotel. We bought what was one of the lowest ranked hotels in the city of Philadelphia on TripAdvisor.
I think it was 1.5 stars. I don't even think it cracked 2 stars.
Oh no, it wasn't even 2 stars. That was on Google reviews. But on TripAdvisor, I think we were maybe in the bottom 5 hotels in Philadelphia is how bad
it's a
the
big
Society
city.
Hill Hotel reviews were on TripAdvisor. And we know that was one of the early challenges that we had to overcome was figuring out, we love the name. There was history to the name, similar to the Pink Champagne. We decided to keep it, and it was a pain in the ass, quite frankly.
I think Pink Champagne is actually not 2 stars. Pink Champagne, if I recall,
you're right. It's better.
That's actually like a 3.5, 4-star place on
Yes.
on Google
On
at
Google,
least,
yes.
which is another reason to potentially keep it and to just even keep those Google listings and build off of it.
That's a good point.
Potentially.
But
then the other reason...
Society Hill Hotel in its reincarnation is a 5-star now from our reviews. So do we want to...
4.9, Mike.
4.9, sorry. Do we want a 3.5 star? Is that good enough?
No, it's not. I mean, honestly...
Especially if we're going to take an average nightly rate from $150 to $300 over the course of time, then...
You got to be 4.8, 4.9 these days to be at the top. Yep. I mean, that's honestly like, Fern Crest.
And I know that's the experience that we're going to create. Like, we're not going out, I'm not setting out to build a 4-star reviewed hotel. That's not what we're trying to build.
Exactly.
And like the reviews will reflect what we put into it and what we make. And I would say that I don't care if it has 1,000 4-star reviews. I'm not trying to build a 4-star.
So the Pink Champagne is the one option, and that is a fun, funky brand. It's 25 keys with an owner unit or something like that.
With an owner's unit, office scenario that could become something fun, I think. We could brainstorm what that could be.
So we could make this a 25, 26 unit.
Has a pool.
That's awesome.
Which is amazing.
Yep.
It's not as close to the beach. It's a block from the beach, so you have to walk a full block before you get to the beach, boardwalk, all the kind of like activities. But it's in a nice part of Wildwood, but it's in the city of Wildwood. It's not in the Crest.
Sure.
It's not in North Wildwood. So the value of it is more depressed because of that. But that's where I see some of the opportunity here is that this per key is listed. They're asking 2.8 for it.
$2.8 million. Okay.
At, we can do the math real quick, but like 2.8 million at 25 keys. Like, what does that bring us from a per key perspective? It's like around 120 a key, maybe
$120,000 a key for the Pink Champagne. Okay,
112 actually. 112 a key.
Okay,
is what it comes down to pre-renovation, and then you got to figure. We walked it and walked with a GC the other week. They need full guts, no question about it.
It needs $1 million
for sure. You're going to do. I mean, you're talking about at least $30,000 a room to do new kitchens, new bathrooms. We're going to do the works just like at Society Hill Hotel, heated bathroom floors. I want, bidet toilets. People love them. Like,
I know.
There's no reason to I'm not going to renovate a bathroom and I put heated floors in my own house when I renovated bathrooms because why wouldn't you at this point?
So it would be a $3.5 million
all-in investment
for us to do the Pink Champagne. All right. What's the second option?
Second option is the Ocean Holiday, which is in the Crest. It is on the beach. I mean, you walk outside and there's a small little passenger street. There is nothing on the other side of the street other than dunes and beach.
Wow.
Epic location. Huge. It is half the block. It is currently 40 some units, but fully gutted. And when I say gutted, it's beyond gutted.
It's a shell.
It's a shell. There's literally no glazing, no glass, no windows, no doors, no nothing. It is a concrete and steel structure sitting across the street from the beach right now. And
sounds juicy.
Yeah, it's exciting. And they have approved plans that they already did to bring that from the 40-some units that it is right now up to 58, I want to say, units that it could be with the proposed some development on the one corner of the property. It would be
a $10 million project?
North of. More than
$10 million.
They're asking right now $8 million for it, but we've done some back channeling and digging. I think there's opportunity on purchase price for it. But the renovation is what is going to be that's what I'm most hesitant about with the Ocean Holiday. Location's incredible. Key count is there where we talk about scale being so important. I think that we are both on the same page that the next projects has to be 20 plus. Ideally 25 is like that's a sweet spot where you have enough scale to build in some staff, build in some efficiencies from an operational standpoint. That those are frankly the areas that we're struggling with at Society Hill right now because we do only have a dozen rooms right now.
And it's not big enough to sustain in-house housekeeping and we don't have enough storage space. There's a lot of, the scale of 12 units is very different than when you get to 24, 25 units.
Exactly.
And then when you get to 50 plus units, then you're talking a much bigger operation, which can give us even more opportunity to hire top talent.
Correct. Because you can support the salaries. It's like the bigger the place is, the more revenue it's going to generate.
Right.
And if you add in a $100,000 manager at a 25 unit place, that's a significant cost. That's a significant line item because the total revenue opportunity is capped. Versus when you double the room count or more to like the Ocean Holiday, you can easily add that really skilled general manager position, other positions within it to make sure you have top talent. So there's an argument for both. The biggest thing that I struggle with the Ocean Holiday is the timeline of it. We're talking about an 18-month renovation. Like if we buy this, we're not open until the following summer. So 25 is out. We're not opening this thing until 2026. Yes, it tees us up for a 100-unit property after that, but it doesn't build on the momentum that we have been working so hard with Society Hill Hotel. It just feels like a down year to me if we're not opening something else next year.
Momentum is so important. It is everything in business, and I think even for us in life, like just keeping us moving in a direction where we're chipping off wins and not, this almost goes back to like a sales funnel. It's like we don't want to go from one project size so far into the next realm that we're not building off of the success that we've already developed. Like we have the following, we have the team, like the general contractor, and this regionality of it is really good because we know that a 25 unit motel could probably be tackled by the same type of people, the same team that was able to do Society Hill Hotel. Now, Ocean Holiday would be a whole nother level, whole nother stakes. Like the stakes are so much higher. I 100% think we get there. And I think we have like even bigger resorts and awesome locations, like in like international markets. Like we could go everywhere with hospitality. Yep. But it does seem to me like the Pink Champagne's the better option. And it also does seem, even though it's not Society Hill Hotel, by the way, Ocean Holiday is not a really brand.
No.
We could probably change that and make that a different brand, make that Society Hill Hotel.
It has no historic kind of appeal to it. It
sounds pretty generic.
Yeah. It was a later build. It wasn't one of those original Wildwood motels. Like this was a 50s, 60s build, 57.
Yeah.
So that was like the doo-wop era kind of the iconic what a Wildwood motel was. The Ocean Holiday was 70s, 80s build that is epic location right on the beach right there, but there was no nostalgia brand to run with.
It's a cement box. So, all right. So there's a lot of pluses to Pink Champagne when it comes to timeline as well, because if we bought it by the end of this year, by 2024, then we realistically, I mean, it would be crazy sprint, but January, February, March, April, May, could we open by Memorial Day? Like legitimately, could we open by Memorial Day?
We'd have 180 days. If we can get this thing under contract, transacted in our possession, and swinging hammers by January 1, we can be open by Memorial Day weekend.
And if we were open by Memorial Day weekend, we would have 80%, if not more, of our revenue generated between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Yep.
And we would be in the money. We'd be cash flow positive. We would take an asset that, all in was $3.5 million. And if we can make $500,000 NOI off of it in the first year, that's worth $5-6 million.
Yep.
That's doubling.
Long term, I think that it's worth even more than that because I think that NOI number can continue to creep up.
It should, right? I mean, I think if we get to $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 NOI, this is a $10 million property. And I think regardless of whether or not we continue to operate in our portfolio, this could also be a prime opportunity for us to sell it, run it for a season or two, get that NOI up, sell it, check a acquisition off of our list. I think we're both motivated. We've sold United by Blue, but it wasn't the financial success story that we wanted. And I think we both are making a lot of equity value, and we're also making good money right now. But that idea of having a hospitality property acquisition under our belts could be really motivational.
And 25 keys is big enough that's a real hospitality acquisition.
That's a real hospitality acquisition. There's a lot of buyers for out there.
Yep.
I think we should do this.
All right, let's buy it.
All right, done deal. That's the pod.
All right.